Hello, this is the first episode of our new series on crypto. This is not really super educational video as I'm also learning about crypto myself right now. So this will be more like the study notes that I took during this process. Cannot guarantee everything I said is 100% accurate, and definitely don't take anything as financial or investment advice. So if you have any questions, definitely or comments, definitely send those through the comment section, or you can DM me on the calling app or on Twitter. So I thought for this first episode, we'll just start exploring basically the thing that started all, which is Bitcoin. So since a lot of people listening to this might also be first time learning about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, so it'd be good to just explain some foundational terms that define this whole word. So the first will be decentralized currency or financial system. So in contrast to that, centralized financial system or currency is what we have nowadays. So even though we have this technology advancement from, exchange things using like physical coins, then to exchange things with bills or banknotes, and then to credit cards and debit cards. The whole idea stays pretty much the same, which is you have this centralized institution that controls everything. So whether it's like validating the value of your currency or approving the transaction, it's usually done within this one centralized institute within the nation, or even when it's across country borders, it's still done usually between two centralized institutions. Obviously, there are some significant problems besides despite it's now still the most popular to do business. First of all, it's efficiency. Like no matter how fast we get the internet to work, you still are basically talking between two institutions. So even the fastest transaction will take you like 1 or 2 days. And secondly, basically the overhead or centralized institution, they just have access to everything you are doing. That's why every time if you are like spending in like suspiciously enormous amount of money through your credit card, or you are wiring money to and from different accounts where the amount is just suspiciously high, you will always get the government's attention, which is not necessarily always a bad thing, because that definitely prevents a lot of the frauds. But obviously, this will be an obstacle to complete freedom in terms of transaction. So that's why in 2008, person with a pseudonym, at least that's what most people think, a pseudonym, called Satoshi. He released this white paper, which is the white paper for Bitcoin, and there he detailed the logic of a peer-to-peer decentralized financial network. So essentially, what it's doing is every time you are, whether it's mining or transaction Bitcoins, you need to go through this series of nodes that requires your computer or every other computer on this chain to solve a certain quite challenging mathematical problems. And through this process, you basically earn Bitcoin if you help validating the robustness of this chain. And as the math laid out in the white paper, as you increase the number of nodes on this chain, the level of difficulty to crack open this chain by hackers just grows also exponentially. So every time you add extra node to the chain, this thing just got exponentially safer. So that's why many people like this idea, and also it just goes through computers that existing through the network. So there is no centralized institution that oversees the whole process. So if we look at the history here, created in 2008, and then the first transaction for physical goods or service was recorded in 2010, which is the famous pizza transaction. So a programmer called Laszlo Hanyas, hopefully I got his name close. So he bought 2 Papa John's pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoins. At that time, when it was just released, you can also check my episode in Carbon about the energy cost. So at that time, it costs almost nothing to mine a Bitcoin. You can literally run it on your regular laptop or desktop computer. Even it's like 2010, and then, but since it costs nothing to mine the coins themselves also worth almost nothing, probably like less than a cent. So you have 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas, but if it's in 2020 or right now 2021 at the higher points, you are seeing 1 Bitcoin for 50,000 US dollars. So that's just a lot of money. If we do the quick math here, it will be 500 million US dollars. Yep. So that's essentially, how those 2 pizzas worth of Bitcoin would cost nowadays. So in this episode, we briefly talked about the history and the first history and the creation of Bitcoin. I think in the following episodes, we will dive deeper into the following years, maybe break it into like every 5 years, just to track how Bitcoin has evolved. And then later on, like probably after 2015, in the series, we will start covering the emergence of all the other famous cryptocurrencies, such as, Ethereum or Solana. So hopefully you will stay tuned to our episodes, and thank you for your time listening to this series. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to write a reply on the episode comments section, or you can DM me through the Calling app or on Twitter. Thank you for your time. Hope you have a good week. Bye-bye.